بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أحمده وأصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد عليها 19 رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمين يا رب. When the media puts its cameras on any event, particularly when the media puts its cameras in a synchronized way across the platform, across multiple media platforms together, worldwide, looking at an event, then you know that event holds meaning for the powers that hold the status. So the whole world's eyes were on this funeral of Queen Elizabeth. What does it mean? Before I go into what this means, let me share with you a few important aspects. I want you to keep in mind, and I'll start off with this point, that today is September 19, the day of the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Why is it significant? Many of you have heard me talk about number 19 before, but I'm going to talk about it in a more elaborated way, but also repeat some things so people that are new can also understand. September 19th was the date that was chosen to bury her. And what does the Quran say about this particular number is of particular importance. So let's start with the Quran and the basic point I want to make first, and then I will discuss all the other issues. In Surah Al-Mudassir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in one very interesting ayah describing the hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عَلَيْهَا 19, that in the hellfire there will be 19. Now I said that she's being buried today, which is 9/19. For those of you that are listening to me for the first time, should keep in mind that when I'm saying this, I'm also referencing 9/11 and COVID-19, amongst other events and other organizations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us about this number 19. عَلَيْهَا 19. On it are 19. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ إِلَّا مَلَائِكَةً. And we didn't make their the numbers of the angels except that number of 19, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose 19 angels to be the guards of the hellfire. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا عِدَّتَهُمْ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً. And we didn't make that number 19 except a fitna. لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. For those people who do kufr. Now, there are many people who do kufr, but we are going to today talk about a very particular type of kufr. Let me show you. That kufr that deals with magic and power. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتبعوا. And they followed. Who followed? واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين. They followed you could say the teachings of, or the instructions of the shayateen ala mulki Sulaiman, regarding the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam. وَمَا كَفَرَ Sulaiman. And Sulaiman is not the one who did kufr. وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا. But it is the shayateen that did kufr. They're the ones who denied the truth. يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. And they taught people magic. So magic and power, both when they come together, like Fir'aun, have to do with kufr. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Mudaththir, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا عِدَّتَهُمْ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And we didn't make that number except as a fitna, as a trial. Just like when Harut and Marut came, something could be used for good, something could be used for bad, but they use it for bad. That's a test. That's a fitna. And so we made this number that could be used for good. I will show you. And it could be used for bad. That's what we're talking about. The occult number, using the numbers Allah made for occult reasons. Or you can use the number 19 to tell what is the truth. The number 19 can tell you the Quran is true. 114 surahs, multiple of 19, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, 19 letters, and so on and so forth. The whole Quran is coded by the number 19. But magicians are also using the same number. And so you have 9/11, you have COVID-19, and now you have the burial of the Queen. This is no small event. The whole world is looking. This is going to be the largest gathering of the quote-unquote most important people of the world coming together in such large numbers as never before, and probably never again for any foreseeable future. So this is and it's being carried out live, without ads or any ad transmissions. And when we get into the details, you'll see more. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا عِدَّتَهُمْ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And we didn't make that number 19 except a fitna for the people that do kufr. Particularly those people that do kufr regarding power and magic. وَلِيَسْتَيْقِنِ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ. And so the people of the book will also know that this is definitely the Quran with its code of 19. This is the truth. لِيَسْتَيْقِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لِيَزْدَادَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِيمَانًا. So your iman should now increase. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pointed us and warned us that this number 19 is a symbol that people will use, like 9/11, 19 hijackers, right? The panel of 19 advisors at the World Health Organization, COVID-19, and now this queen being buried in September, yet again, September 19th. So it increases the iman of the people who have iman. They humble themselves. So Allah says, وَلَا يَرْتَابَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So the people who were given the book, the Ahlul Kitab, the true ones, and the believers, they will have no doubt. Now there will be some people that will say, oh, this number 19, it has no significance. لِيَقُولَ الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ وَالْكَافِرُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا. Those people in whose hearts is a disease, the hypocrites, and those who deny the truth, they'll say, oh, what does Allah mean by this number 19? كَذَلِكَ يُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. This is how Allah leads astray whoever He wants. وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. And He will guide whoever He wants. With the number 19, He'll lead people astray. There's a group of people, number 19 will guide, and there's a group of people, number 19 will lead astray. وَمَا يَعْلَمَ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. And no one really knows the armies of Allah except Him. وَمَا هِيَ إِلَّا ذِكْرَى لِلْبَشَرِ. And this is nothing but a reminder to human beings. Now today I will discuss more of what this surah tells us about number 19 and these people. But before I do that, I want to now talk about some things from a different perspective. So I said, do you know when the eyes of the media at the worldwide level are looking at something, the media is used to brainwash people. It is used to create emotions. It is used to indoctrinate. And it is also used to cast spells and magic. But I'm not going to talk about that today. But the media has a very big role. The media is like the one-eyed beast in a sense. You know, the camera has one eye. And so all the cameras are focused on this event of the burial of the Queen on September 19th. Now let me share with you another aspect of this before we come back to the number 19 in Quran. Obviously, when you're going to have such a big event, you have to decide who's going to come and who's not going to come. And the decision of who is going to come and the decision of who is not going to come is going to do what? Is going to draw alliances. It is going to decide the future, because Britain, along with the United States, for example, one of the countries not invited is Venezuela. Even though Britain never had anything to do really with Venezuela, it was the United States that always had a problem with Venezuela. It was the United States that tried to overthrow Venezuela. But Britain has decided not to invite Venezuela. Well, when you invite or don't invite, or make problems for someone to come, that is drawing new alliances for the new world. And so this new world disorder that we're about to step into, you could see the beginning of the new alliances. In regards to, obviously, Russia is not invited. So you could see the new alliances being built. Now, what's very interesting, let me share with you. So one of the people that is not coming is the MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, sorry. Mohammed bin Salman, one of the people not coming, because why? He apparently does not want to hear people protesting against him, because apparently there is going to be a big protest against him. Groups will be coming and protesting against him because of him killing the journalist. Another person, I think it was the Prime Minister of China, who was supposed to come, but he has decided not to come. Instead, he's sending someone in his place. There are reasons for this. One of the reasons was that the ambassador of China was not treated too nicely recently in the United Kingdom. And so Russia and China has decided not to, the Prime Minister is not going to go, but they're going to send somebody else in his place to kind of like give condolences. So they want to keep a relationship, but also make the point, we're not very happy with you. So UK leaders, of course, the government of United Kingdom, US presidents, the White House confirmed that President Joe Biden will attend Queen Elizabeth's funeral along with the First Lady. And not all former presidents will be able to attend, but there is speculation that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama will be there. Commonwealth leaders. Now, this is a very special group of people. Who are the Commonwealth leaders? These are the leaders who, for the most part, British used to rule over, like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, who they used to rule over, and they still consider themselves the monarch of these areas. Okay? And so they have a special category of Commonwealth leaders. So, Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, one of the professors, I think in Jamaica recently wrote an article called "We Don't Mourn the Queen," which I'll be talking about. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau from Canada. Of course, Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, okay, New Guinea, South Africa, Trinidad, Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif is going, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Other world leaders, right? So Ireland, France, Austria, Israel, again, Israel is not sent, the Prime Minister is not going, the President is going, and I'll tell you the reason for that, which is very important. So all these countries and other attendees are going, okay? Now, why is this going to be interesting is the reason that Israel is not going, for example. The reason Israel is not going is because the Queen never put, even though she had sympathies for the Jewish people, apparently, I'll show you, but she never came to Israel. Even though she went to Jordan, she never came to Israel. So Israel is not too happy, and so they're able to protest. And by the way, Israel, even though Britain gave birth to Israel, Israel is not considered part of the Commonwealth. So the the Queen never stepped foot into Israel, like King Charles did, by the way, twice. But the Queen never stepped foot into Israel, so Israel is going to the funeral, but also making a protest. So the prime minister is not going, but the president has been sent to make the point that the queen never came to Israel. Now, that's the level of respect Israel has for itself. Have the Muslim countries that were colonized by Britain, are the Muslim countries, or for example, South Africa, which has a large Muslim population, did they ever say, well, you know, the diamond you have on her casket, I think it's called the South African diamond, the diamond you have on the casket was stolen from South Africa. The 3,000 jewels she has in her crown are stolen from around the world. The scepter and the orb that will be on her casket has diamonds stolen from the world on her casket. Did any Muslim country say that we regret, you know, that she died, but we don't accept this legacy of white supremacy, this legacy of colonialism? Why is it that the Muslims like Shehbaz Sharif, when there is Pakistan, 30% of Pakistan is under a flood, and this Shehbaz Sharif is going to a funeral of a queen that considered herself the queen monarch over Pakistan. Muslim countries had a holiday. Oman had a 3-day holiday. 3-day holiday because the queen died. I mean, can you believe that? Okay, so let's just continue. Okay? Royalty attending. So this is the royalty, you know, people of royalty that are attending the funeral, right? How many of these are Muslims, right? Would they ever protest? No, these were the people, many of these Arabs, they were the protest. They were the ones working, not protest, sorry. These were the ones working with the British against the Ottomans to bring down the Khilafah. And now they're going to go there to kiss the feet of the queen, right? So King Hamad of Bahrain, right? Sheikh Mohammed, ruler of Dubai, okay? Crown Prince of Kuwait, Sheikh Tamim, and his wife, and all these different people, Hatim bin Tariq, the Sultan of Oman, okay? So these Muslims who still have because you're going to this queen's, you're elected or a dictator of the Muslims in a Muslim country. You got nothing better to do but to go to this queen's event so that you can meet which group of people, the group of people that, you know, birds of a feather that flock together. It's the same group of people that are part of this agenda to bring disorder to the world. That's just as simple as it is, and I'll explain that for the people that are listening to me for the first time. It is a group of people that have no other agenda other than, I mean, why is Shehbaz Sharif in here when 30% of his country is underwater? Do you know the president of Ukraine didn't come? His wife came. You know why the president of Ukraine didn't come? Because he's dealing with a war situation. Because he is dealing with an important situation. Now, we can look at that in different ways. He's fighting a war for Britain at the end of the day. He's fighting a war for the United States at the end of the day. But still, he didn't come because something more important to do. Every Muslim leader that's there has something more important to do than to attend this white supremacist symbol of colonialism funeral. I mean, you would talk about being in the 21st century, but yet what? You know, you're kissing the feet of a queen. You still consider yourself as part of the Commonwealth of the British. It's just so messed up. So who are the countries not invited? Well, Russia, Afghanistan, Syria, and basically those are the countries not invited. And so, oh, I forgot. Venezuela is also not invited. And so basically, Syria, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Myanmar, and Russia. So these are the countries that are not invited. The rest of the world all came. You could take a look at the list of the world leaders. You know, I don't want to go through all the people that came, obviously. But what are some of the other lessons? I would like to go to that. What is interesting is Palestine is going. So Palestinian leaders are also going to go to that country that gave birth to the state of Israel. So it's just the level of brainwashing and colonial mindset is just overwhelming, right? Now let me talk about a few other issues that I think are very important. There will be some surprising things I'm going to be saying in this session, I believe, that is going to spark your interest even more. But first, let me talk about something very important. There are a lot of Muslims out there that feel sad that the Queen died. Okay, that's fine. You could feel sad if you want. I got no problem with that. We should feel sad for anybody who dies, in a sense that it's hurting the family or hurting other people, or the person's going to end up in the hellfire. And if the person's good, we feel sad that that good person's departing us. We don't say about any one person. For example, we don't say Queen Elizabeth is going to the hellfire. We can't say that. We can say, or what we do say in our aqidah, is that whoever dies not believing in Allah and His Messenger and the Day of Judgment, generally speaking, the rule is that such people are going to go to the hellfire. This is something that, unfortunately, we're living at a time that even something basic as this, that people are confused about and questioning, well, why wouldn't she go to the hell? She was a good person. Yeah, Mother Teresa was a good person too. And guess what? She never raised her voice against the injustices done on the poor people of India in her life. This queen that you consider is so gentle and so nice, did she once raise her voice against the colonial rule, against that our kingship did bad, against that our imperialism was bad and that we robbed people? No. But what will Muslims do? Muslims don't care about wala'ul bara anymore. They don't care about that who we have friendship with and who we declare our innocence from. We don't have your blood on our hands. We do not have. The British government is that government that there was no other government in the Muslim world that killed as many Islamic scholars as the British government did. It killed the ulama of Hijaz. It killed the ulama of Palestine, the ulama of the Indian subcontinent. There was a Muslim scholar hanged in almost every village. So, anyway, that's history bygone. But I don't want somebody to have this impression that, these are like some very noble and very gentle and very loving people who care about the world and the environment, and that's it. And this King Charles, now he's inherited at least $500 million, if not more. $28 billion, I think, was his total assets he was going to inherit. I'm not sure, but anyway, he inherited so much, right? So and now in this time where wars are going on, conflict is going on, people don't believe in democracy, and they're going to look up to this king. And this king is now the gathering of everyone in the world with him, right? Everyone in the world with him to galvanize them, because this will be used as a political moment. Like they're now changing the song "Long Live the Queen" to "Long Live the King." They're in the pastoral remarks when they took the casket of the Queen into the church, they referred to him as king, meaning King Charles. And he's not going to dethrone himself. He knows that he's in a place where he can do favors, where he will get brownie points. He's going to get points for doing big favors. But also, I want to share with you now something that will spark your interest, okay? So I wanted to talk about the aqidah aspect, that look, we don't know who's going to heaven and hell, but we don't say that, oh, may she live, because some of the Muslim leaders wrote in their Twitter, and I might get a chance to show that to you, things that are very close to being a question mark. Like, why would you say that? We don't believe that, right? So, and then there's a lot more that I want to cover, so let's see how fast I can do that, inshallah. So where was she buried? She was buried in Westminster Abbey, okay? this is a very strange occultic place. Okay, this is a place that, let me just show you. When you enter, do you see that floor? The checkered floor, black and white. Most of you will not know this, but I'm going to tell a lot of the people, alhamdulillah, they know this, and some people don't know this. Those of you that do know this, please confirm that in this video in the comment section so that other people can understand. This checkered floor that we have here, this checkered floor where she's buried, is the very symbolism of a cult. The black and white floor symbolizes the good and the evil coming together. Meaning, these are people who believe that until you don't know evil, you really don't know good. And so you have to know evil and good together. And that's what the Freemason lodges, all of these occultic places, this is a very common theme that you'll find in their floor setting. Okay. Another thing about this particular place where she is buried, Nicholas Hawksmoor was the architect of this place, one of the major architects, okay, because this happened over along the making of this place, the devil's architect, okay. Nicholas Hawksmoor was one of the 18th century's most prolific architects, okay, and he was intrinsically linked to esoteric and arcane, meaning he was involved in things like magic, in just a whole bunch of occultic things, okay, and he designed this place, okay, and this is a very weird place. I don't have time to go into it. Where this lady is going to be buried, they have the most bizarre pictures. I mean, I don't even they have pictures of, people doing murders. They have it's just really weird place. But there's a specific aspect I want to show you about that place that has to do with something about the number 19. So the first thing is, although Hawksmoor never traveled to Italy, he was influenced by studying engravings of the monuments of ancient Rome and reconstructions of the Temple of Suleiman. Okay, and those of you that know that who is most interested in the Temple of Suleiman? Of course, the Jewish people are, but who else? The occults, the Freemasons. They love the idea of Suleiman alayhi salatu wasalam. They love the idea of a powerful king, okay, and who controls the unseen. And let me just see if I can show you something. So this is the Grand Lodge of Ohio, and it is on Freemason.com. Okay, so King Suleiman's Temple and Freemasonry, a framework of self-improvement. So Freemasons are very much what? They're very much in love with the architect of Prophet Suleiman alayhi salatu wasalam. I'm just pointing. So we're here on Freemason.com. Okay, King Suleiman's Temple and Freemasonry, a framework for self-improvement. So I'm just showing you here. This is the Grand Lodge of Ohio. Okay, that how Freemasons are in love with the Temple of Suleiman alayhi salatu wasalam. And Freemasons means magic and power. Both of these coming together. Again, like the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, right? وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. And they followed the teachings of the shayateen in regards to Suleiman. Who are these shayateen teaching, and who's thinking that they're following the teachings of Suleiman, but yet they're actually not, and that they're actually being taught magic? That is people like the Freemasons. And this queen is buried in a place that is designed by an occultist, and who was interested in the designs and in the reconstruction of the Temple of Suleiman. Not only her, but her entire family. And in fact, this family doesn't come from Britain. It actually comes from Germany. Her name, this is why they have Nazi connections. I might go into that later on. You can actually find a picture on the internet. I think King Edward and Hitler laughing and smiling together. And they moved from Germany to Britain. And then they're all intermarried and interbred anyway. But the point is that they changed their name. I'll try to find her real name. Queen Elizabeth is not her real original name. Okay, so now, so this is the obsession. Okay, so this place, Westminster Abbey, where she's been buried, is a place designed by these types of occultists that had this. Now, if she is of that type of person that is being buried there, right? If she knew, okay, my family did magic, my family was involved in these strange things, I want to be buried somewhere else. She could have done that, but she didn't do that. She buried herself there. She buried her husband there, and there are reasons why. Because this is a very strange place. This Westminster Abbey, I think it's called. Okay, so now you see this circle here in the middle in this picture, right? This circle is the exact spot that we know she's buried here, and this is the exact spot where she and all her lineage before. This is the spot where they became queens and kings. Okay, this spot right in the middle. And this design that you see, okay, here of the Cosmati floor is what it's called. It's called the Cosmati floor. It's made of just a whole bunch of rocks from different parts of the world, from Egypt, from Iraq, from all parts of the world. And there is a message here too. So the message over here, okay, is that the end of times. Okay, the end, according to this message that's designed by this person, okay, this person that I was talking about that designed this and studied the Temple of Suleiman and made this place where she's buried, where her whole family has really been buried. This place predicts the future, and you know where it predicts the future? It predicts the future to finish, or the world will finish in 19,000 years from now. So you see this spot right in the middle is where she became queen. Let me see if I can find that. Okay, so we'll leave it for now. But this is the Cosmati floor that has this strange message about end times. A place that's designed according to this person's understanding of the Temple of Suleiman alayhi salatu wassalam, right? And you see this place where the queen is sitting. This is Queen Elizabeth. There's a rug, and under the rug is that exact thing that I was showing you. That's this Cosmati floor, okay? And this Cosmati floor is very symbolic from a perspective of occults, from the perspective of magic. So for example, if you're looking at this floor, this center circle has 4 corners. One represents the fire, the other water, air, and water, and then the earth, right? And so those are the 4 corners. And so this type of geometric, you could say, shapes, and they're influenced from many different places. Some shapes are influenced from the Islamic era and so on and so forth, but mostly this is an occultic place where she is buried. So her casket has all these jewels that have been stolen, and then where she's going to bury herself is a pavement of that place where this Cosmati floor is, which is part of where she's going to be buried, close to it, included over 30,000 pieces of stone and glass. Okay, and the part that I want to show you here now, so the riddle that's on this Cosmati floor, okay, near where she's going to be buried in this very mysterious place in Westminster Abbey, I believe it's called. The riddle, you will be glad to hear, predicts the end of the world will be at least 19,000 years away. Okay, so that's end of times for them. The end of times for the occultists and the people involved in occult movements is, they're looking at, we'll be here for, thousands and thousands of years. And the true Muslim who knows the signs of the Day of Judgment knows that the time for the end is very, very soon. And this is one of the differences in how we think. Okay? So Shaitan has these people convinced, oh, whatever is going to happen between you and God, even if it does happen, will be happening 20,000 years from now. So who's going to pay attention to that? Right? So anyway, so here we are. This is the type of place she's buried in. Now let's go back to the facts on the ground. Okay, so Jerusalem Post. The Queen Elizabeth was a great friend of the Jewish community. And the Queen's official title, of course, is the Defender of the Faith. And she was a great friend of the Jewish community. So this is one of the diplomats saying this, okay? And, and she was very sensitive and respectful to Holocaust survivors and always listened to them beyond protocol, allotted time, and shared moments with them, okay? And she added that she herself was honored to be the last Israeli ambassador to present her credentials to the Queen in 2020. Okay, it was a formal affair that began with a carriage. Oh, so she's describing her meeting with the Queen. She was very specific about our circumstances and even made a comment about Israel having many elections. So let's be clear here. Britain made Israel, and Britain royal family, that is a white supremacist family, have no doubts about it, is on the side of its white people, okay, that it gave birth to in the state of Israel, okay? And this is, for those people that want to know more detail at another time, because I'm not going to go into it, this is what Ya'juj and Ma'juj specifically means, or very close to it, okay? Now, let's continue. Queen Elizabeth's relationship with Israel. Queen Elizabeth has mixed reputation in Israel, which is located on territory governed by Great Britain from 1920 to 1948. The Queen visited over 100 countries while on the throne, but never came to Israel, even though she traveled many times to the Middle East, including the neighboring Jordan. Okay. Many people have the impression that royals travel to places they just want to, without having a foreign office agenda behind it. So they're talking about this, that why, she didn't come. And what does it end with? Okay, ends with something very interesting. Is September, meaning this September, has been one of great change in British leadership. Okay, not just because the king replaces his mother, because the king has been to Israel, and the king is closer to the Jewish people than even his mother. Okay, his mother, Queen Elizabeth, on the throne, but also because Liz Truss has taken over Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister. The shift in leadership comes at a time of close ties between the United Kingdom and Israel. Okay, Hatovli said, we really have a golden era of Israel-UK relations. This is the first time a British Prime Minister is talking about the idea of moving the British Embassy to Jerusalem. Okay, which is amazing and a real breakthrough, etc., etc., etc. So you all get the point. So now let me ask you a question. If this is all true, what are Muslims doing there? What is any Muslim doing there? Why is a Muslim there? Why is a Muslim leader there? I want to ask you another question. If a stupid, foolish person like me can know this, they couldn't know this? They couldn't understand this? They couldn't see through this? They couldn't see reality? Like, what are they, animals? They're zombies? What are they? These Muslims that go there in these, services that really are occult services. I don't even want to go into that right now. So, it's just a sad state of affairs. All the Muslim countries are there, and do they realize that when they're participating in this festival of burying her, they're basically taking part in an occult burial festival? I've shown this website before. This is the Commonwealth. This is the Commonwealth.org. Okay, what is the Commonwealth? It's 56 countries that basically Europe used to rule over and still has a soft rulership, because these are the 56, including Pakistan. Listen to me, including Pakistan and Bangladesh and many other Muslim countries who still, in an unstated law, okay, in an unstated law, still accept the Queen and the King of England as their head of state and monarch. Okay, this is why Pakistan, for example, had a holiday for the tragedy of we don't. For example, my parents are from Pakistan. We don't have a holiday, okay, for any other president or who has died. Okay, not for Bhutto, not for Ziaul Haq, not for whoever. Okay, but for this Queen, special day of holiday was being arranged. Okay, so Pakistan observes National Mourning Day over passing of Queen Elizabeth II. I want to ask why. Why? Why would Pakistan do that? Why would any Muslim country do that? Why? Why would you do that? And so it's just bizarre. And you know what's even more bizarre is that in a world of democracy, now you're celebrating a queen and a king. Like if you were really progressive in the real sense of the word, right? I mean, just this dictatorship is okay over the Muslim countries. This soft power dictatorship, right? That's okay. So you got so 2.5 billion people are considered to be part of the Commonwealth. Okay, so they're African countries. Okay, many of them have large number of Muslims. Okay. South Africa is one of them. Zambia, Ghana. Then you have Asia. You have Pakistan, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Malaysia, India, Bangladesh. There's the majority of the Muslims, right over there. Then you have the Caribbean countries like Jamaica, Guyana, so on and so forth. Canada. These are in the Americas. You have in Europe. You have specific. Okay, none of them in the Middle East, because the Middle East just became their friend. And Israel is not one of them. Israel is not under the authority of the British, under the Commonwealth. Okay, and so whether you believe it or not, okay, if you're from one of these countries, it is an understood thing. It's understood that your king and your queen is sitting in England, in Britain. Okay, that's what's understood by that. So go ask your Muslim leaders, okay, or your whoever you have the power to ask in your sphere of capacity. Ask them, why are we still part of the Commonwealth? Why are we still accepting this dictatorship? I thought we had national freedom and sovereign countries, but not exactly. It's not as simple as that, you see. And as I mentioned before, Israel didn't send the prime minister because they're upset with the queen not coming to their land. So Israel sent the Ishaq Hargaz, who is the president. He wrote, Queen Elizabeth was known far and wide simply as the Queen. Her passing is an end of an era. Now let me repeat, this part is very interesting to me. Her passing is an end of an era. He's not just anybody saying this. He's somebody who understands the inside mechanics of things. Together with the Israeli people, I grieve her loss and extend my deepest sympathies to the British people and all nations of the Commonwealth. Oh, so he's now going to say to the people of Pakistan and Bangladesh and Malaysia, oh, we're so sorry your queen died. We don't need that. Sorry, she's not my queen and he's not my king, who have lost their matriarch. And so one big advantage this particular King Charles has, not my king, but somebody's king, I guess, he has is what? King Charles to host the world leaders. And there'll never be such a big gathering again, probably, ever, okay? That for any time for the foreseeable future. Not for the death of King of Saudi Arabia or King of Qatar or King of Kuwait, not for anybody. Can be predicted that such a big gathering would happen. I'd say not even for King Charles, okay? That now he has gotten the whole world to come, and he is their host, and he gets to build their relationship, and he is, he's in a position to now have political currency and build that political currency, and he has a far more clear agenda of what he wants to do politically than his mother. He's completely for the reset agenda. Okay, he's completely for the reset agenda. Now I'll tell you how much these people fear death. Okay. Queen Elizabeth's casket, what is it made out of, and when was it made? Forget about when it was made. It was made about a few decades ago, okay? But let me tell you what it's made out of. It's so heavy that no one person can carry it. It will take 8 people to carry it. You know why it's so heavy? Because it's made of lead. Do you know why it's made of lead? Because she had to lay dead for 10 days, and she's probably going to start smelling inside the box. So they had to make it of lead, so that their fear that her body will start to decompose, and their fear that it will start to have smell, as it has happened with other kings, will be kept from happening by putting it in lead, so she'll be decomposed slowly. At least they're saying it'll take a year longer before the process of decomposing even basically starts. Okay, meaning it's going to be delayed. Everything's going to be delayed by almost a year. Okay, so that's what they're predicting. So they paid, I think, $20,000 or 20,000 pounds. Okay, and so it's made from this. It's the wood is made from oak. Okay, and it's lined with lead, and that's one of the reasons that it is so heavy. Why is Elizabeth's coffin lined with lead? Again, this article talks about the exact same thing. It is lined with lead so that her body will not decompose. So, even when they're dead, they don't want to have the consequences of, basically being dead. And so, how the queen will be dressed for burial. So everything, it's just so superficial, right? So you got her casket with the stolen jewels. Where she's going to be buried has stolen jewels. And her casket is made of lead, so she won't smell. And then they're talking about her simple clothes and her simple jewelry. And you know what people are talking about? Because all the rich and the famous are there. Guess what they're talking about? More than even talking about the queen, the real, you can say conversations that came out of all of this was about fashion. That I guess I think her name is called Kate Middleton, is wearing this, and the other lady, I forget, that's also the daughter-in-law, she's wearing this, and that other person was wearing this, and this person was wearing these shoes, and she was wearing this dress. And so this is the funeral of the queen. This is the funeral of the queen. And what are Muslims doing? Muslims are just following into the lizard's hole. Same thing, no different, right? Muslims are trying to wear their best suits, best everything, and all that. So the queen has this special thing on her casket. It's like a globe with a cross and a specter, which is more like a stick, you can say, like this stick right here. Okay, this is the specter. These are 2 things made of jewels that represent the authority and the power of the queen. So this is, on her throne again. What does Quran say? Quran says when a person will die, he will say, Halaka anni sultaniya. My power, my authority, my sultana, my being king or queen, gone. And they're still putting it on her casket, right? So it's all dramatics. It's all theatrics. It's all for the camera. But at the same time, it's hard to let go dunya. When all you have done is dunya. All you've done is given to dunya. All you've done is invested in this world and not invested in the next life. And that's the result of that, is that you don't come out and speak against injustice, because you don't have anything to fear. And if where she's being buried, if she thinks also, there's no anything happening with God for the next 19,000 years, well, I don't know. For the people that don't know and they're listening to this for the first time, again, very much worth it to just type in the Great Reset, okay? And just to show you that this 4th Industrial Revolution, this Great Reset, you should study it and understand what it's about. A golden opportunity, okay? The Prince of Wales and other leaders on the forums of Great Reset, right? So you have, now we would call King Charles, he is supposedly here, right? And all these people that are part of loyalty, okay? And all these people, they are what? Part of this idea, this agenda of the Great Reset, which is just horrendous. And of course, the World Economic Forum had to leave a message too, because they're all in it all together about the Queen, right? Queen Elizabeth's life was dedicated to public service. Our thoughts and condolences to the royal family and all the millions of people whose lives she touched. I mean, they actually believe this nonsense, right? That, oh, her lives touched so many people. So just as an introduction, I've done this before, but I'll say it again. The Great Reset, and you can go to the World Economic Forum and just Google the Great Reset World Economic Forum, and you'll get this same page, okay? There's an urgent need for global stakeholders to cooperate in simultaneously managing the direct consequences of COVID-19 crisis, the 19 mentioned in Quran. To improve the state of the World Economic Forum is starting the Great Reset Initiative. Okay, and King Charles is part of this, and so this is how they're envisioning the future. They're envisioning the future that future humans don't have to work. The machines will do everything. You will own nothing, but you will be happy. Okay, and so that's just in a nutshell how it is. A non-Muslim Jamaican professor had the guts to write, "I don't mourn the Queen. She was the #1 symbol of white supremacy. Elizabeth II was the manifestation of institutional racism." Hind Andrews wrote of the late British monarch. Okay, so this is how the attitude of the Muslims. Why does Pakistan not pass a law that we don't accept King Arthur, or I mean King Charles, and we don't accept the previous queen? But of course, countries like Pakistan cannot do this because their army is in the pockets of the British.
The Sun newspaper obtained a 70-second black and white video.
So somebody leaked from the family archive this picture of the Queen hailing Hitler. Okay, so just want that to be clear. So this is why are you not asking King Charles, oh Muslims of the world, that are you a racist? Are you a white supremacist? Can you give out a statement that would clarify your position? This would give us such strong moral authority over the powers that be. If there was a Khalifa, if it was Omar bin Khattab, he'd sure ask him. He'd put him in his place. Okay, but of course, you know, Muslims nowadays, they're cowards. So, and of course, none of the Muslim leaders are going to do it, and most of the Muslim scholars are just going to go along with it, just accept things as they are.
3. Playing up for the camera, young Queen Elizabeth is seen apparently raising a Nazi salute alongside her mother and younger sister dancing around. Her uncle, the future King Edward VIII, does the same. Whether an innocent gesture done in jest, the palace is said to be scrambling to figure out how the film got out, says Roy.
So, what is worth particularly mentioning is how much traitors of Islam, within Islam, those people that are putting a knife into the Muslim, the Ummah from within, okay, people like the Ismailis, the Aga Khans, they're very close, okay, very close to the Queen. Her Majesty the Queen hosts a dinner to mark His Highness Aga Khan's Diamond Jubilee. Okay, so these people are these are the friends. These are the people that they're really. How can you see? You got to understand that if you're friends with the Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif or Imran Khan, or if you're friends with some, and then you're also friends with these internal enemies within Islam, we need to ask these people, hey, what's going on here? We're not okay with this. Like, you got to choose sides, right? And they're closer to the side that wants to backstab Islam. And of course, the Ahmadiyyas are well known. I mean, it was the British that, anybody that goes to let me just make this very clear. Any political leader who makes investments in houses in England is a sellout. Just period. Simple as that. Okay? And the Ahmadiyya are, the leadership of Ahmadiyya went from India to London or to Britain. Why? Because they are sellouts. And the same thing with our Muslim politicians. There's no difference between an Agha Khani, an Ahmadiyya, or Nawaz Sharif, or anybody else whose family members and wealth and internal investments are all in England. There's no difference, brothers and sisters. There's no difference. And just as there's no difference between a Muslim politician like Nawaz Sharif and Shahbaz Sharif and the Ismailis and the Agha Khans and the Ahmadiyya having their investments in this island of Dajjal, okay, in this island, forsaken island, is such an interesting island, and what they've done to the world, and the way they fooled the world, right? And now you have normal Muslims doing what? Singing songs in the masjid. Singing songs in the masjid that God save the king, God save the queen. Just listen to this. This is, I think, at a spiritual level, absolutely horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. So this guy is standing in the front where the member, the khatib, would sit, and there's some uncle there with, I don't know, he's also standing there. No one said, wait, this is wrong? Shame on you? Shame on you to do this? And imagine, you do this, right? You do it anywhere. You can do this with the Hindus, you can do this with the British, you can do this with anybody. You're going to feel something emotional, something beautiful, because it's the mood. And the mood is not individual, it's collective. It's the collective mood that affects the person. So you're creating this environment at the masjid that is just completely just against wala'ul bara. It's against the basic teachings of Islam. Save the queen. So what is this nonsense that's going on in the UK and the Muslims in the West and maybe Muslims in the world, right? Especially Muslims in the Commonwealth who actually feel at some level that's their queen and that she has actually good intentions towards, I mean, there's nothing more. This is slavery. This is slavery par excellence. You know why this is slavery par excellence? This is slavery par excellence because you're praising the master. This is like when the slave loves his master. You know what we call this in the field of psychology? I think we call it Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. Okay, this is when, the beast, Beauty and the Beast, the beast holds the beautiful girl as a hostage and she falls in love with the beast. Okay, this is when the beautiful girl falls in love with the beast. Because why? Because you're a hostage and you start loving the person who's holding you hostage. Wow, that's just, I was just thinking about that right now as I was saying this. That's a whole conversation itself. Stockholm syndrome is a coping mechanism to a captive or abusive situation. People develop positive feelings towards their captors or abusers over time. Listen to what this is. Captors, people held in hostage, right? They develop positive things to the person holding them captive. And all these Muslim leaders, they're captives they're enslaved by these monarchs and these world leaders and the World Economic Forum and so on and so forth. And they have over time begun to love their masters. And the only way out of it is to turn towards Allah and turn towards the deen and turn towards akhirah. As long as you turn towards dunya, you will only fall in that pit of love for them. Okay? I can't explain it better than the beast forces the beautiful girl in the castle, and the beautiful girl falls in love with the beast. So whether it is 5,000 Muslim men who pledge allegiance to the nation, or it is a local, I mean, what's the difference between these Qadianis that are doing this? Okay, it is the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community that gave bay'ah to this king. Okay, what's the difference between them and these people that were singing in the masjid that are normal Muslims, apparently part of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, or I don't know what they were part of, right? So they are, and look at them, they're praying there with their masks on. This person is leading them with the mask on and the microphone there. I just don't, whatever. Okay. And so, these are people, all these people that are liberally minded, they just have the Stockholm syndrome. That the person who has been abusing them and killing them and killing them and killing them, and all they see is the positive attributes of the person that has been that has been hurting them. And you know what's so interesting is that even though they develop a bond with their captor, do you know how somebody is brainwashed? Is that they have the inability to trust anyone else. So a Muslim will love the white man who is his captor and his killer, okay? But he will not trust another Muslim. You know why? Because you got Stockholm syndrome. That's why. The Ahmadi community celebrates with the royal family, or shows condolences with the royal family. The world head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad La'natullahi alayhi, has described the death of Queen Elizabeth La'natullah alayha as a great loss for the United Kingdom and Commonwealth. So he's saying this is a great loss for he still considers her and him as the king and the queen of Muslim countries like Malaysia and Pakistan. He said Ahmadiyya Muslims would remain forever grateful for how the queen served her people with immense dignity and grace and unwavering dedication throughout her long reign. A statement issued in Ankara expressed in community's most sincere condolences to King Charles II, members of the royal family, and to the nation. So in these changing times, you can bet on it that the Qadianis and the Agha Khanis, they're going to move forward with the fourth industrial revolution, the reset, and the whole darn thing. And with them will be so many of the Sunni Muslims that are willing to stand there and sing songs. She was a regent of 32 sovereign states during her lifetime, meaning she was the queen. Okay, I don't know who made her the queen of us, but okay, whatever, right? So some people have also suggested that this lady in this holy font where they show Jesus and the Antichrist and all this, I think it's Pet Goat 2, okay, that some consider her to be, Queen Elizabeth. Some have suggested that, but there's different opinions about this, and that she has an apple in her hand, and from the apple, different things happen, and, the apple is like her, the fruits of her life kind of thing. So it starts with the queen in a sense. This is what some people have said. And it's interesting when you put it all together with all, they say that what the people are saying is like you could say the collective consciousness, right? So the collective consciousness of human being is telling us this is a major moment. This is a end of an era, just like that president of Israel said. I actually agree with him on that to some degree, I guess. So it's an end of an era, and a new era is going to be forced upon humanity. And Queen Elizabeth's death is a sign of that. Usually, this death of a king is traditionally many people, including Muslim scholars, have considered it as a death, as a finishing of an era, and a new era is starting. Okay, and so and whenever a new king comes, when a new whoever comes, it's in the beginning it's quite unstable. One mistake I made that I need to fix is that her state funeral happened at Westminster Abbey, where I showed you those geometrical shapes are and the occults are. But she is buried in the castle, okay? And both of these places, the Westminster Abbey, as well as the Windsor Castle, both of these are occult places. So now let me tell you about the castle where she is buried, okay? And so there's no more space left in the Westminster Abbey, so now they had to bury her in the castle. And the castle is also a very old castle and has been part of many occults. So I'm just going to share a little bit about that, about where the castle she is buried in. What I showed you about those geometrical shapes, that's where she was made a queen, and that's where her funeral took place. So the distance from the Windsor Castle and the Westminster Abbey is about 45 minutes, okay? As for the Windsor Castle, where she's buried after she has her funeral at the Westminster Abbey, this castle is the oldest castle in the world. It has been through a lot of occults, not one occult, but you can have a whole program just on occults in this castle, and I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I'm just going to give you a few examples, okay? So one of them in history in the Windsor Castle is, for example, the Order of Garter, okay? And the Order of Garter, let me just share this with you. Order of Garter was one of the occults, okay, that was operating there. And this is from the Encyclopedia of Witches, Witchcraft, and Wicca, okay. So the Order of Garter was there early on. They were doing their thing, and they had their system of whatever they were doing. Just as another, the other thing I want to share with you is, people can do research on this, but I only mention it because it's interesting. The shape of the Windsor Castle, okay, the map of the Windsor Castle is the same as what is called the Orion constellation, or constellation Orion, the Orion constellation. So if you look at, for example, this map, and if you were to turn around this Orion picture onto its belly, so to say, it would make the same picture as the body of the Orion. Okay. A portion of the Windsor Castle, for example, has been built upon what is called the Gothic style, and the Gothic style is very closely attached, for anyone that knows, to the occult. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that, because I mean, this is not an important topic as such. It is important to know that where her funeral was held and where she was buried are both places of occult, without any doubt. It is also important to note that the way the Muslims have, looked up to this queen in this time is really quite pathetic, and because it's the Stockholm syndrome. You're the person who's abusing you, and you're falling in love with the person who's abusing you. And of course, the Muslim prime ministers and presidents, and the way that they've responded to this, and what will this be used for? All of this will be used to galvanize people ultimately against the countries that were not invited, against Russia, against Venezuela, against Syria. And if anyone knows End of Time in Syria, well, they're interrelated. And perhaps parts of Russia and End of Times is also interrelated. And perhaps Afghanistan, who's also not invited, and End of Times is also interrelated. So, shame on the Muslims who thought of this as some great big event. This is just another person who has passed away and gone to their ultimate destiny, just like we all will. And may Allah have mercy and guidance for all of us. But it's important to know that who are really for you, and who are just using and abusing you, and using you as hostages, then you fall in love with them because you think you're free, and because you think, oh, look at that one who's in power. I love power like this person who abuses me has power. I want to be power. And this is why Muslims are so power-minded, right? They want power, and they think the way to power is to get dunya. And to get dunya, and to go after more loans, and more riba, and more debt. And what they don't realize is that whole system that they're actually cooperating with right now is crumbling, and it's becoming the new world order of new world disorder. New world disorder. It is a new world of disorder because the West has no idea what they're doing, and they have no idea what they're going to do. And the internal systems within the West are beginning to fail itself and beginning to fall upon itself. And really, it's like a spider's web. And it's very easy to break if you just understand really what's going on. It's like paper money would cease to be money if people only realize that it's not even money, it's just paper, right? It's just a matter of, it's our hallucinations, it's our wahm that allows us to think in these ways and gives these things credibilities that actually have no credibility. So it's very important for Muslims to wake up. And so I hope I contributed positively. What do we know at the end of the day? What we know at the end of the day is there's no way that you can hide from death. And you could put yourself in a lead-made casket. You could put all the jewels on your casket. You could put an orb and a scepter on your casket. You're going down the ground. And you're going to face your ultimate judgment. And you can't run away from what you did. See, when you do wrong in dunya, you don't want to die. Why? Because in the Quran mentions this. بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ. They don't want to die because they know what the evil things that they've done. They don't want to face God. They don't want to believe in God. So they deny God. And they don't want to face God, and they want to have a long life. Why? Because they're not contented with themselves internally. And they're not ready to let go of their life. And they somehow have been given promises by the shayateen. Oh, no, this world will last 19,000 years. And you're going to also last a very long time. And this is why these queens sometimes maybe do get long lives. But I want to end with explaining the number 19 in a little bit more detail today. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا عِدَّتَهُمْ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً. We may not mean their number except as a trial. فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. For those people that do kufr. Particularly those people who do kufr with magic and who are out to seek the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam. Now I hope it all comes together. And then Allah says, وَيَزْدَادَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِيمَانًا. And to increase the iman of the people who have iman. We will read Quran now and see, 19. COVID-19. I got it. 9/11. 19 hijackers. I got it. Oh, she's being buried on the 19th. Oh, she's being buried her funeral is in this building that was designed by an occultist who used to design things and had affinity for buildings like the Temple of Sulaiman. This is interesting, right? It has inscriptions over there that we will live for another 19,000 years, and the riddle that it has. And وَلِيَسْتَيْقِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ. And to give the people of the book certainty that this is the truth. You can see this is the truth. No other book has talked about the number 19 and its role in history like this Quran has. Okay? Both in its positive and its negative sense. It's a fitna. You can use it for good. You can use it to unlock the truth of Quran, or you could use it to see the evil. And then the evil people will use the same to promote their evil. And then you will be using Quran to find out their evil. Okay. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala later on then describes these people, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Anil mujrimeen. And about the guilty people. Who are those? Those are the people that did kufr, that rejected the truth, that didn't get iman, couldn't convince themselves this is the truth. We're not they didn't increase their iman. مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ. What has brought you to Saqar? Meaning the hellfire. قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We were of those who didn't pray. So meaning, the people that do magic and want power, they don't pray. قالوا لم نكن من المصلين ولم نكن نطعم المسكين. And we did not feed the destitute. You think they're going to feed you? You're just in Stockholm Syndrome. وكنا نخوض مع الخائضين. And we used to indulge with those who used to indulge. Indulge in what? In magic, in power, in dunya, and so much, in materialism. وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And we used to deny the day of judgment. After all, where my family is buried, there's an inscription. We're going to live for 19,000 years. حَتَّى أَتَانَا الْيَقِينَ. Until the truth of our death came upon us. فَمَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ شَفَاءُ الشَّافِعِينَ. And they will get no benefit of any person who tries to intercede for them. فَمَا لَهُمْ عَنِ التَّذْكِرَةِ الْمُعْرِضِينَ. And why are they turning away from this reminder called the Quran, meaning from the Quran? كَأَنَّهُمْ حُرُمٌ. And it continues. But now, what I wanted to share with you is this part that, who are these? These are the people that indulge in this, that are using the number 19 as a negative fitna. That's a fitna upon them, and they're bringing other people into fitna, whether it be 9/11 or COVID-19 or this September 19th burial. These people are not people of prayer. These people are people who don't care to feed the poor. These are not people who want to accept the truth. And this is why Surah Al-Mudassir's beginning and most important point comes in the beginning, in which the mission of the Prophet is mentioned, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal mudaththir, O you who has been wrapped, rise, fa'anzir, and warn the people, wa rabbaka fakabbir, and make your Lord supreme, make Allah supreme. These people, they want power. They're not the ones who deserve power. Nope. They don't deserve power. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ, and make your Lord Akbar. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, and make your clothes pure. Pure from magic, pure from filth, pure from najas. وَرُجْزَ فَحْجُرْ, and abandon all abominations, all things of magic and idol worship and all these things. وَلَا تَمْنُنْ تَسْتَكْثِرْ, and don't show favor. Don't think that they're going to increase, or you're going to gain something by showing favor. Nope. There's no showing favor. You're not showing favor. Okay? By going to these places, you're just falling for the Stockholm Syndrome. That's all that's happening. وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. And for your Lord, have sabr. And for the evil that all these people have done. فَإِذَا نُقِرَ فِي النَّاقُورِ, and when the trumpet is blown, فَذَلِكَ يَوْمٌ عَصِيرٌ, that will be the day that will be really difficult for those people. عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ غَيْرَ يَسِيرٌ, for the disbelievers, it will not be easy. ذَرْنِي وَمَنْ خَلَقْتُ وَحِيدًا, leave me and him who I created. I'll deal with him. His power today seems like you can't deal with him. Allah says, Zarni, leave me. وَمَنْ خَلَقْتُ, and the one I left, وَحِيدًا, alone. Leave me and him alone. I'll deal with them. وَجَعَلْتُ لَهُ مَالًا مَمْدُودًا, and I gave him great wealth, or I gave her great wealth. وَبَنِينَ شَهُودًا, and children as witnesses. وَمَحَّدْتُ لَهُ تَمْهِيدًا, and I smoothed things out for him. I made things easy for him. ثُمَّ يَطْمَعُ أَنْ يَزِيدَ, then after I made his life easy, he wants me to add more yet. He wants more in this dunya. He wants more power in this dunya. Even he will do kufr. Even he'll do magic in order to seek that power. كَلَّا, by no means. إِنَّهُ كَانَ لِآيَاتِنَا عَنِيدًا, he was stubborn in regards to our signs. These are not people who want to, the people who are interested in signs, the people interested in truth. سَأَرْحُقُهُ سَعُودًا, I will exhaust him, Allah said. I'll give him, but I'll give him by exhausting him. This is why so many CEOs, they get what they want, but what? They're exhausted and tired and lonely and empty. إِنَّهُ فَكَّرَ وَقَدَّرَ, he thought, and he analyzed, he measured, okay? فَقُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ, and may he perish for the way he analyzed, the way he plotted and planned. ثُمَّ قُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ. Now, by the way, this is ayah number 19 in the surah that talks about 19. ثُمَّ قُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ, again, he may perish. May he perish, and how he analyzed, how he thought he's going to get away from things. ثُمَّ نَظَرَ, Then he looked. ثُمَّ عَبَسَ وَبَصَرَ. Then he frowned and he whined against the truth. ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ. I can't have that. Why can't I have that? I want to have that. I want to have my casinos, and I want to have this, and I want to have this money. Who cares if it stamps out a few bad people? I'm a philanthropist anyway. ثُمَّ عَبَسَ وَبَصَرَ ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ وَاسْتَكْبَرَ. And he turned his back and he was arrogant. He was proud. فَقَالَ إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ يُعْثِرُ. And when the truth is given to him, the Quran is given to him, the signs are shown to him, when he's shown this is the truth, he says, no, this is magic. He's projecting what he is himself involved in onto the truth. إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا قَوْلُ الْبَشَرِ. This is nothing but a statement of man. سَأُصْلِهِ سَقَرْ. I will throw him in the hellfire, Allah says. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سَقَرْ. And what do you know? What can give you an idea what that hellfire is? Just because Allah was patient with you? Just like Allah told the Prophet to be patient with the people in dunya, and Allah was patient with your sins? Now, time is up. Time is up. لَا تُبْقِي وَلَا تَذَرْ. And it neither leaves nor it spares once you're put in there. لَا تبقي, it doesn't leave anything be. It will catch you and put you in trouble. ولا تزر, and it doesn't spare you. لواحة للبشر, it scorches the flesh, meaning the hellfire. عليها 19. On it are 19 guardian angels. Why? Because you used to play with the number 19. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا. And people said, 19, 19, I can come over 19. I can beat up 19 people, because they didn't know it was angels. So then Allah responded, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ إِلَّا مَلَائِكَةً. We didn't make that number, except that they're angels. You think you'd beat 19 angels? وَمَا جَعَلْنَا عِدَّتَهُمْ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً. And we didn't make that number, except as a fitna. لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, for the people who denied the truth. وَلَيَسْتَيْقِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ. And to give confidence and yaqeen to the people of the book, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ, and the believers. وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ فِي and then Allah says, وَلِيَزْدَادَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِيمَانًا, and to increase the iman of the people who have iman. So, Allah will deal with them, and Allah is dealing with them. But Allah will give them more before Allah exhausts them. Then they finally crash, coming down, crashing to the ground. Okay? And so, what is the lesson here that I want to end with? So I want to end with this. This is on the Royal Funeral Queen, or this is on the royal.uk site. The state funeral of Queen Elizabeth will take place at Westminster Abbey on Monday, 19th September at 11 a.m. So, it's the fitna of 19. And it is a small fitna gone, and a bigger fitna called King Charles taking its place. With this, inshallah, I end today's conversation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.